Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Business, Finance, and Justice Committee meeting. Today is October the 20th, 2022. It's also my birthday. Thank you. I call this meeting to order at 3 p.m. Invocation, Representative Randall Hicks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I get started, my birthday was the 9th. If you could stand, if not, that's okay. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this day that you've blessed us with. Lord, we give you all grace and honor for the day that you have given us. And Lord, we just ask that you have your hands upon this meeting and let us do the best that our nation, and for our citizens. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Representative Hicks.
Will you join me? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Stand up. Happy birthday, dear Thomasina Randall. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and get started. Roll call, Legislative Clerk April Lindsay.
Patrick Freeman. Sandra Golden. Randall Hicks.
Present.
Thomasina Hola Osborne.
Present.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Madam Chair, you got 5 present and 0 absent.
We have 5 present and 0 absent. This constitutes a quorum. All business conducted will be official. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of September 15th, 2022. Committee, I'll entertain a motion when you're ready.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes on 9/15/22 with any necessary changes.
We have a motion from Representative Hicks to approve the minutes of September 15th, 2022. We have a second from Representative Golden. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman. Sandra Golden. Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. The minutes of September 15th, 2022 are approved. Next item on the agenda is order of business. NCR 22-011, a resolution of the Muskogee Creek National Council confirming Cynthia M. Tiger to serve on the Muskogee Media Editorial Board. Sponsor, Representative Anna Marshall. We have a motion for due pass from Representative Golden. Do I have a second? We have a second from Representative Freeman. Discussion? Is Ms. Tiger present? Ms. Tiger, are you online? And she is not present. Ms. Marshall, do you want to come forward and say anything?
Good afternoon. I sponsored the NCR 22011 for confirming Cynthia Tiger to the Muskogee Media Editorial Board. I know that we're always looking for qualified Creek citizens, and I know that one of the requirements, and we've had discussion about their experience and background in tribal law, and Mrs. Tiger has that experience. She's got her master's from TU in, I think it's in Indian law or tribal law. And so she's got a broad experience, and I think that she would be good to serve and represent on the Muskogee editorial board.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Since Ms. Tiger is not here, we will go ahead and okay. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
No.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 3 in favor and 1 against.
We have 3 in favor, 1 against. NCR 22-011 passes.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
And I'll get her.
Okay. And we'll make sure that Ms. Tiger is contacted regarding the agenda. TR 22-158, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the principal chief to execute a legal services contract between the nation and Cody Minyard, attorney at law, PLLC, for the Muskogee Creek Nation Office of Child Support Enforcement. Sponsor is Representative Randall Hicks.
Madam Chair, motion do pass.
We have a motion for due pass from Representative Hicks. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion? Representative Hicks?
Somebody from the Office of Child Support Services, please. Child Support Enforcement, I'm sorry.
Happy birthday and good afternoon. Yes, this contract is to help with a review of our legal codes and also any recommendations for improvements in our codes in regard to our federal regulations. And it needs to be updated and looked at. It actually hasn't been, it's been almost 10 years since I've had a review. So, thank you. Mr. Minyard is a Creek citizen and practice locally. So that's the gist of the whole contract. No more than that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Representative Hicks?
Mr. Minyard's not here today, is he?
No, I didn't contact him to be here, so.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted face with the name for everybody.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had, man.
And the contract is covered under our grant, which has been approved, so.
Thank you. Any other questions? Representative Golden?
Yes, has Mr. Minyard ever worked with the Muskogee Creek Nation in any capacity?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't talked to him in about a month or so. I don't know. He may have something with the court or something. I don't think he's been employed by the nation.
Not by contract either?
That I don't know. I would have to ask him specifically.
That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Hicks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Golden, I believe Mr. Minyard is just starting his practice. If I'm correct, I think he just got his degree not too long ago and starting his practice. So I don't think he's actually worked for Muskogee Creek Nation. I could be wrong, but if you would you ask him to send his resume as well?
Sure, I will be glad to do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the National Council representatives in attendance or online? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Sandra Golden.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. TR 22-158 passes.
All right.
TR 22-159, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the extension of the Secretary of the Nation and Commerce to continue operations of the One Fire Holding Company, LLC. Sponsor, Representative Patrick Freeman.
Motion for due pass.
We have a motion for due pass from Representative Freeman. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion? Representative Freeman?
Yes. Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make an amendment to line 20. Says the National Council hereby authorizes the extension of the Secretary of Nation and Commerce to continue operations of the One Fire Holding Company LLC for 90 days. I'd like to strike for 90 days of the act of this law and place it till new governance board is in place.
Representative Freeman, can you repeat that, please?
I'd like to strike on line 20, strike for 90 days of the enactment of this law, so we won't have to come and revisit this every 90 days until the new boards are in place.
Okay, is that it? Okay. Okay, Representative Freeman wants to amend line 20. He wants to strike 90 days of enactment of this law. Any discussion? Okay. Okay, we need a second.
Wait,
Representative Hicks?
Me second? Or,
what was it? 16. Oh, okay. Also, Madam Chair, I'd like to strike line 16. 90 days.
Okay, so the amendment's going to include striking exceed 90 days on line 16 and then 90 days of enactment of this law on line 20.
And just substitute till new board in place, new boards in place, new governing board in place.
And substitute new governing board in place. Is that correct, Representative
Yes,
Freeman?
ma'am.
Okay, do I have a second? Representative Randolph seconds the motion. Discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion from the representatives in attendance or online? Representative Hicks?
Madam Chair, you're just voting on the motion on the amendment, correct? Not the whole?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Sandra Golden, Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
Okay, we have 4 in favor, 0 against to the amendment. Okay, we're going to go back to the main motion. Discussion on the main motion? Any discussion from the representatives in attendance or online? Roll call vote, please.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Sandra Golden, Randall Hicks,
No.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 3 in favor and 1 against.
Okay, we have 3 in favor, 1 against. TR 22-159 passes. TR 22-161, a tribal resolution of the Muskogee Creek Nation establishing tribal membership in the National Congress of American Indians. Sponsor is Speaker William Lowe.
Motion do pass.
We have a motion for due pass from Representative Mark Randolph.
Second.
We have a second from Representative Sandra Golden. Speaker Lowe.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Yeah, this legislation is just for membership for the upcoming NCAI. Well, really, they're to the organization, but it'll allow us to have 180 votes. So Chief Hill will be our representative in those votes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Any questions? Any questions from the representatives in attendance or online? Roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Sandra Golden, Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. TR 22-161 passes. NCA 22-125, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of funds for the benefit of the Muskogee Creek Nation's Light Horse Police Department for the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, 2022 COPS Office Tribal Resources Grant Program, Equipment and Training. Sponsor is Representative Randall Hicks.
Madam Chair, motion do pass.
We have a motion for due pass from Representative Hicks. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion, Representative Hicks?
Madam Chair, Mr. Daniel Wynn, do you have somebody that could come down and speak on this, on the COPS program? Captain Phillips, I didn't see you back there, sir. My apologies.
Happy birthday, Madam Chair, and happy belated birthday, Representative. This grant will allow us to purchase 15 cars and 72 bulletproof vests, ballistic vests for our officers with this grant, with the approval of this grant.
Thank you, Chief Phillips. Are there any questions for Chief Phillips from the committee? Are there any questions from the representatives in attendance or online for Chief Phillips? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Sandra Golden. Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. NCA 22-125 passes. NCA 22-126, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of the U.S. Department of Justice Office on Violence Against Women FY 2022 grants to Indian tribal governments to exercise special domestic violence criminal jurisdiction grant award for the benefit of the Muskogee Creek Nation Light Horse Police Department. Sponsor is Representative Sandra Golden.
Madam Chair, motion for due pass.
I have a motion for due pass from Representative Golden.
Second.
We have a second from Representative Hicks. Discussion, Representative Golden.
Can the Light Horse Police Chief address this, please?
Thank you, ma'am. With this grant, this will allow us to get another investigator, allow us to hire another investigator and an analyst, which will assist in the investigations departments for domestic violence, as far as keeping track of paperwork, reports, and things of that nature.
How many investigators do you have currently?
Currently, we have 11.
11
Yes, ma'am.
investigators. Are they dispersed throughout the reservation as the other law enforcement officers?
As we're branching out now, we just established Wetumpka. We will be moving investigators in different branches. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions for Chief Phillips from the committee? Are there any questions for Chief Phillips from the representatives in attendance or online? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Sandra Golden,
Yes.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. NCA 22-126 passes. NCA 22-127, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation authorizing the expenditure of the National White Collar Crime Center Grant Award for the benefit of the Muskogee Creek Nation Light Horse Police Department. Sponsor, Representative Sandra Golden.
Madam Chair, due pass.
Representative Golden makes the motion for due pass. I have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion, Representative Golden.
Yes, can our police chief.
Thank you, ma'am. With the passing of this grant, it'll allow us to purchase 4 computers for the officers to keep inside of their units as they're out fulfilling their obligations to our citizens. It'll help us to purchase computers, 14 computers with this grant.
Okay, any questions for Chief Phillips? Representative Golden.
Sir, you said that you'll be purchasing 14 computers?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. 14.
Okay, and now, where will they be located?
They will be in their units, their police cars.
Inside the unit of the car,
That is correct.
the vehicle, not not
Yes, they will be in their units.
in the cars.
Yes, in the car.
Okay. I just wanted to understand when you said computers, I just see at the desk. So,
Understand.
sorry.
Understand, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Phillips from the committee? Any questions from the representatives in attendance or online? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Sandra Golden, Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. NCA 22-127 passes. At this time, I relinquish the chair over to Vice Chair Representative Sandra Golden.
So we have on our agenda NCA 22-136, Law of the Muskogee Creek Nation, repealing MCNCA Title 50 entitled Light Horse Police. Sponsor, Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
I make a motion to do pass NCA 22-136, the substitute.
Ms. Yohola Osborne has made a motion for due pass for a substitute for NCA 22-136. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Randolph. Discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to call on Chief Phillips.
Hid somewhere. Here it is.
Thank you, ma'am.
The reason that I'm bringing this forward is because the Light Horse Commission was on the agenda of last month's BF&J. We went into executive session.
Wow, this looks fancy. Okay.
So based on information received, that's why we have this legislation before us today. So, Chief Phillips, I'd like to ask you if you're in favor of this legislation and why or why not.
I am in favor of this legislation. Reason being, I'm in favor of this legislation. The things that the commission has asked us, the legwork and stuff as far as radios and stuff, our officers are doing all the legwork and turning everything into them, and then they in turn are, I guess, for lack of a better term, regurgitating back to y'all what we've reported to them. So essentially, we're doing all the work for them. So.
Okay.
That all?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Freeman, do you have a question?
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
We have a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Okay, then I have a question, Chief Phelps. So the radios, you're doing all the legwork for the radios? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And
Investigator Vaughn.
so how long has it been since you hadn't had any radios?
Since I've gotten here, I mean, we have radios, but the communication is sketchy at best. But in doing so, when I did mention that I had a plan in place with Mr. Howard, Bobby Howard, I did advise that we were looking at maybe 13 to 16 months out to getting our radios up and going. And I was advised by Commissioner Freeman that was unacceptable.
Don't you think that a modern law enforcement division needs some radios as a top priority?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do.
And the reason that you haven't done anything sooner is you had to wait for the
I
commission
have been doing stuff. I have been working on that.
You have been working on it.
Yes, sir.
For 2 years
We've-
you've been working on it?
Do what?
2 years you've been working on it?
Yes. Yes, we have been working on it. Yes, sir. we were in the process of losing our towers back in May, and we were given a 30-day notice, at which time we reached out to another radio communications guy here in Okmulgee County, Ricky Mitchell, who assisted us in getting our radios to what we have now. Because if it had not been for that, we would have nothing.
Would you consider radios life safety issues? And we've been in non-compliant with not life safety issues for that period of time? Our
Oh,
first
yeah, most
responders?
definitely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is a top priority. Yes, sir.
So we're just now hearing about it. Basically, if you're bringing it to the committee, now you're telling us that we've been out of compliance for a couple of years.
We have been working on it. Yes, sir.
Is there any other discussion? Anyone else? Mr. Randolph?
Chief Hill, would you like to say anything?
I really don't have anything to add because this, the commission, the Lighthorse officer has been reporting to the commission. So probably more appropriate to ask questions to the commission.
There is a Denise Henry on the line.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you are one of the commissioners?
Yes, ma'am.
Could we hear from you?
Yes, I can tell you what I know about it. We did learn about the radio system expiring in, I believe it was June. And we do have a commissioner, Commissioner Freeman is working with Motorola. He met with Motorola representative and a Lighthorse officer, Les Vaughn, I believe. And they have, originally we were being told by several different vendors that it could be, like Chief Phillips said, a year to a year and a half out to get a radio system up because they do attach to the towers up and going. And so we did find a vendor that is with Motorola, and I think, and I don't want to speak on this without being positive, but I
Madam
believe
Chair.
they had said.
Madam Chair, I'll call point of order.
Point of order?
And the reason I say this is because according to the legislation, there is 4 items that is mentioned of why this bill is to be repealed. And radios, this discussion that we're having is not one of them. So if you want, I will read what we have for discussion.
You can, sir.
Here are the findings that the National Council finds that there has not been a fully seated commission since the end of February 2022. There have been 6 nominees, which resulted in all 2-2 ties. The commission has not hired an attorney for assistance, though they have funds to do so. The locations of the commission's meetings have not been consistent, and due to the lack of progress from the commission, there is a need to place the Lighthorse back under the executive branch and repeal the law that established the Lighthorse Commission. So that's my point of order. The discussion that you're having has nothing to do with this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. As a commissioner, Ms. Henry, can you answer to those items? Did you hear that, the items that were mentioned?
Yes, and I can answer those. And one thing is, we have had 6 people apply, but not 6 qualified people apply. There have been several that did not meet the qualifications, and we have not voted on all 6, only because, like I said, some do not qualify. I have submitted 3. And one other commissioner has submitted 1. The other ones did not qualify. So we do have 3 that are qualified to meet the qualifications, but we, as a 2-2, vote, it has been tied.
And why is the 2-2 vote?
Well, there is a discrepancy in the law. The two of the commissioners believe it says that the chair can vote, and it's just stated that way. But two of the commissioners believe that it should be the chair can vote if we have a full commission. They should vote to, the chair would vote to break the tie. But without five, every time the chair votes, it's a tie. And so that's where we are at on hiring an attorney, hiring a fifth commissioner, and doing many items.
Locations of the commission meetings have not been consistent.
Yes, we had originally, when we first were formed, and we had five, they had us meeting at in Chief Hill's executive office until we could find one. I did get us a place at the One Fire Holding in Jinx, where we were able to, well, let me back up. We met from Chief Hill's office to the Mountain Building, depending on scheduling, and if anybody needed one of the offices, we kind of went back and forth. Then I located with Speaker Lowe had gave me a couple places, and we had an office or a conference room at One Fire Holding in Jinx. We met there several times and had planned on staying there, and then we were told that the board had voted and said that they did not believe that it was a good idea to have the commission there, and that it was an inconvenience. So we went to this final place, which was Oak Council, and they have offered to give us a permanent place. They have secured us a meeting room and through January, and then we will sign a year contract in January for another year.
Also, I guess you have funds in your budget to hire an attorney.
We do, and it has taken us till June to get information about our budget. We have not been able to access our budget. Originally, there was a problem, I believe, in finance with the controller. They had a controller working on it, and then they had a change in controllers. And then we did learn that they kind of went back and forth between what commissioner was going to handle it. I did offer to check on it, and I met with Patricia in finance. She had just came on, and she was extremely helpful, but we had to have a signature, and it had to be an elected board member that could access the our budget, and that was our Chairman Bible. And we were told he was already in the system and that's where that would be, but that some of that was delayed because that was we were told that our budget and our posting that we had put a posting up for a commissioner was mistakenly waiting for a signature and approval from Chief Hill and Finance. I had to inform them that it had already been put in place in August of 2021, that we shouldn't have to have a second approval, but it had been waiting there for a while. And I think some of it was just the change in controllers and things like that.
Okay, so for budgets, they were supposed to be submitted by October 1. That was the Light Horse Police Chief budget and the budget for the commission. Your commission has not been able to do that?
Right. I did not approve anything with the Light Horse budget. With our budget, I was given our budget on the August or September 27th. And I was handed that on that day and asked if I would handle it and have a new 2023 written up because we had to have it turned in by October 1st. So I have never done a budget before, but I did, and I had some assistance with a few people from the tribe that helped me out, and we did turn the budget in on time. We turned it in on the Friday before, actually. And that's with that. As far as the Lighthorse budget, the commission as a whole did not meet on that.
It's outstanding. Okay, there's one other person that is on the commission, and that is Renee Stapp. And the other person is Larry Bible, and the other person is Eric Freeman. But they're not.
Yes, ma'am.
They're not on this. So could we hear from Ms. Stapp if you could add any light on this commission?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I agree with the majority of everything that Commissioner Henry said as far as the space was an issue from the beginning. And I think that's pretty consistent throughout the nation. So finding space for us probably should have been, a priority from the beginning, because we don't have any place to keep like confidential documents or information. So because we're remote, we're moving, just depending on where somebody can host us. And we did task Commissioner Henry with that. She offered to take on that task because she had some insight onto some spaces where we could meet, but they have not been consistent. As far as the fifth commissioner, we have discussed some commissioners. We have voted on none. We've had no official voting on a commissioner. We've had discussion in our official meetings, but we've not voted. And we are going to go back to everything that we work on and discuss in our meetings is the interpretation of our law. We are pretty split as a commission as far as the interpretation of the law. Two of us have really pushed to have a legal opinion from our Attorney General. And although we do have funds in the budget to hire an attorney, the attorneys that we have sought out were way over budgeted than what we had. And Chair Bible took that task on, and he reached out to several folks that have worked with the nation before, that know our law. But because they're working on other things within the nation, that was going to propose conflict. So we really haven't come across an attorney that would be able to guide us right now. And so we did reach out to the Attorney General and actually had a meeting set for next week to get some clarification and just a legal opinion from an attorney on the things that we're conflicted on within the commission. But I do think that it's evident, and I think Commissioner Henry just stated that we do have some conflicting things within our law that conflict with like the nation's law. We have a lot of things that give us authority to make decisions, but we have no processes in place. And to develop those processes, it creates a lot of dissension within the commission, if you will, because we continue to go back to one commissioner may interpret the law this way, another will interpret this way, and we kind of just become at a standstill where we're completely split down the middle. And that's not conducive to any business within the nation, and especially to the Lighthorse Police Department. As far as the budget, Commissioner Henry worked on that with input from the commission, and I do believe we did get that in time. Chair Bible was supposed to attend a refresher for the finance part. He has since injured himself, so he's kind of been out of touch a little bit. He's been going to doctor's appointments and things, and I don't know if he was able to get on today because he had a doctor's appointment today as well. So that's pretty much where we are with those items in general. But I would like to add, if I may, that I think the commission, in theory, for what it was set up for, which derived out of the Reservation Protection Commission is a great idea, but I think that the law needs to be reviewed, and I think there needs to be a lot of work reviewed with the council and with the Attorney General mostly about the actual responsibility and the role of the commission. And I think that that needs to be really solidified with the Lighthorse Police Department so that everybody understands exactly what our role is with serving the nation.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stapp. Mr. Hicks, you had a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Henry,
Yes.
just a short yes or no question. So do you agree there is discrepancy in this law?
Not for me, not for myself. I
Okay.
feel that,
Yes or no?
sorry,
Yes or no?
Which law?
no.
Okay, because earlier you made the comment that there was discrepancy in this law.
The comment that I meant to make is that we have some discrepancy with understanding the law.
Okay.
I believe that two of us understand it clearly. And I'm sure the other two think they do too. So I can't say if the law has a discrepancy. I can just say we, have a discrepancy with understanding it.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Second question, do you agree the law needs to be strengthened?
I can't say on that. I feel like and I can only speak for myself, that I feel that the law is clear. I am used to dealing with the law in the law books, which gives us a lot of authority as officers to do things, but doesn't tell us how to do it. It relies on us to write policies, and that's what I believe the original Lighthorse Commission law was meant to do. That's my honest opinion.
Okay, has policy been written?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stapp?
Ms. Stapp?
Ms. Stapp?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was trying to find the mute button.
Okay, so do you agree there is discrepancy in this law, this Lighthorse Commission law?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you agree this law needs to be strengthened?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chair.
So are there, Ms. Osborne?
Yes, looking at the legislation, this law was actually enacted July 13th, 2021. So I feel like the commission has had ample time to do what they need to do. The second question I have, and it's actually for Representative Freeman, is Eric Freeman kin to you, Representative Freeman?
Yes.
How so?
Yeah.
How so?
My brother.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any questions? Any more questions on the commission?
I have a statement.
And who's this?
This is Representative Harjo.
Mr. Harjo, go ahead, please.
Just listening to everything that's been said up to this particular point, and the bit of confusion, and one thinks it has strength, one doesn't think it has strength, or however all that's been said, and then no policies have been written. It would really seem that it would have been more imperative for you guys to sit down and all of you try to find a lawyer, so that way you could had help dealing with these particular issues. But in lieu of that, you continue to try to meet, and you realize that there was only 2 votes against 2. Well, then that should have made a statement to you that if you didn't have the policy and procedures for how this should be done, and there was discrepancies as far as your understanding, or you feel like it's in the law, whatever it may be, well, then there again, I feel like a lawyer should have been the first thing you should have taken care of. So that way, these issues could have been clarified a long time ago. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Any other discussion? Yeah.
I would like to say something.
Ms. Henry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I would just to make a note that, again, we did, and I did write a letter. I did submit it to Kyle Haskins. We did go over some things when Kyle Haskins was as the acting AG too. I know myself, I did, but we did put it on our agenda and did discuss all the big items like hiring an attorney immediately when our 5th commissioner left. And it was, you know, we didn't have a problem with every single vote. But when it came to certain items, we accomplished a lot of things, but when it came to certain items like that, we could not agree on some things. But again, it wasn't that we just started looking into it. We did try to come to an agreement, and we did keep trying to bring attorneys, you know, to the meetings, or their names to the meetings. But as Commissioner Stapp said, we have had a hard time getting somebody that can practice within the nation that isn't already tied to, you know, the tribe some way, or has a conflict of interest, and that wanted to work with us. You know, it wasn't even really money. It was that we couldn't get anybody to work with us that could work in that didn't already have ties to the nation. So that's been some of the conflict. It hasn't been, you know, just that we couldn't decide on it.
So could Mr. Haskins speak to that?
I think so. I don't know if he's on here.
Oh, he's present. Mr. Haskins?
I think what Commissioner Henry is discussing are the original reasons why Light Horse Commission was created versus where we are today. And it's not appropriate for me to comment on a political determination as to how you all move forward or don't move forward. My only comment would be, as your attorney, is that we have legal options. And the legal options as compared to repealing Title 50 and that portion of it with regard to the Light Horse Commission is to amend our laws, is to amend Title 50 to clarify as necessary. The other option is on October 3rd, I sent you all an email that was marked personal and confidential, and it addressed options specifically as an attorney, or a recommendation that I made to you all. It's not appropriate for me to go into that because it was marked personal and confidential for a reason. So, but I think that that's what Commissioner Henry was referring to as the original reasons from back when I was in the AG's office as to the necessity of having a Light Horse Commission and what it had to offer as benefits to our Light Horse today. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, all right. Are there any other questions, any other discussion? Before we call for a vote, I would just like to say that I've been listening to all of the discussion, and from what I'm hearing and from my discussion with the chairperson who called me, Larry Bible, asked me to present what his thoughts were. And he said he is not in support of doing away with the commission, and said that there are some things that can be clarified and would help them. I did attend the last meeting, and it was somewhat of a bit of a chaos. There were lots of other issues that were involved in having their meeting, and so I spent some time trying to find out why and what for. And these people on this commission are passionate about doing their service to the nation and to the Light Horse Police. And so I think that with all that consideration, we should really think about what we need to do going forward for the best of our nation. Any other comments? Any other? Call for vote. April.
Thomasine Yehola Osborne,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
No.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 3 in favor and 1 against.
So that moves forward. The next item on our agenda is NCA 22-137, a law of the Muskogee Creek Nation amending MCNCA Title 26, subsection 3-102, PD entitled Compensation. Sponsor, Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
Motion for due pass.
A motion has been made for a due pass by Ms. Osborne, second by Mr. Randolph. Discussion.
Thank you,
Ms.
Madam Chair.
Osborne.
I believe we have Vice Justice Amos McNack.
I didn't hear you.
Mr. McNack, can you speak to the legislation about the compensation for the Supreme Court members that is before us today?
Addressing the salary increase.
Speak into the mic, sir.
Yes, so we have submitted a proposal for salary increases for our justices. The justification, et cetera, is outlined in the Chief Justice's letter that was submitted. So I will not go through there to take up your time, but the bottom line is the increase in our workload, et cetera. And I think the justice's salary increase was last done in 1994, I think, because I came on board in 92, and 2 years later we had a salary adjustment in 94, and our salary increases hadn't been made since then. So we're trying to get increase for our justices. One of the reasons also is that McGirt case, et cetera, has increased our workload in every area. So we're having to spend much time on these cases, research, and also we handle the all the attorneys that files for the Bar Association. We have to do a lot of background research, contacted the ABA, make sure that they're in good standing, and we're getting application, but just 10 per week now. So we have a lot of workload that's going on. So that's why we had requested this salary increases for our justices. I'd like to answer any further questions that you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. McNack? Any? Did you have some more?
Yeah, it's not for Mr. McNack, but I just kind of wanted to read part of the letter that I received from Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice. He says the last increase in compensation for the nation's Supreme Court justices occurred early or nearly 3 decades ago, NCA 94-67. And in the years following, they've seen the branches of the nation's government, they've seen an increase in pay, principal chief, as well as the national counsel's salary. And so what the request is that the justice will receive, instead of $1,200, increasing to $2,500 per month. The Vice Chief Justice of the Supreme Court shall be compensated at the rate of $2,250 per month, and the other justices shall be compensated at the rate of $1,300 per month. And it is a request for increase due to McGirt. The caseloads have increased since then. So I just kind of wanted to clarify their justification for increases. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Are there any questions from any of our council members online? No more? No discussion? Call for the vote, please. April?
Thomasine Yohola Osborne.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman.
Yes.
Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
So that legislation passes and moves forward. I will now return the chairmanship back to Ms. Osborne.
Thank you, Ms. Golden. Next item on the agenda is referred legislation. We have four pieces of legislation: NCA 22-119, NCA 22-121, NCA 22-128, NCA 22-135. Ms. Killian, what is the funding source for the referred legislation, please?
Yes, Chairman, for the referred legislation, for NCA 22-121 would be interest on permanent fund. For NCA 22-128, it will be under the economic development land acquisition. And for NCA 22-135, interest on permanent fund.
And NCA 22-119? That's the medical travel assistance.
It will be liquor and beverage tax.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Liquor and beverage tax.
Okay. Okay, committee, do I have a motion to accept these funding sources?
I make a motion to approve the funding sources.
Representative Golden makes a motion to approve the funding sources. Do I have a second? We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Sandra Golden. Yes. Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman. Yes. Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. The funding sources for these 4 pieces of legislation has passed. Next item on the agenda is other business. We have MNGE, GOAB. Their report, please.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I believe Chris Ray, last night at the meeting, he said he wasn't 100% sure if he could attend the meeting. He had another function, but we do have Mr. Pat Crofts and Andy Langston online, and I believe Mr. Pat Crofts is ready to do a report.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Crofts. Thank you.
Yes, I believe Vice Chairman Kevin A.G. is going to give the report for Chris Ray.
Oh, I didn't see him.
Yes,
I'm on.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, do we need to go into executive session for your reports? I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to go into executive session from Representative Hicks. Do I have a second? We have a second from Representative Golden. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Mark Randolph.
Yes.
Patrick Freeman. Sandra Golden. Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against.
Who would you like to stay?
Representative Hicks, who would you like to stay?
All council representatives, Attorney General, council attorney.
Because Mr. Howard is here, could we ask him to give us an update on the declaration of disaster and the emergency management? We've had a couple of emergencies in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we can have Mr. Howard. If you want to report on everything that she said.
Everything that's going on.
Make it brief.
So the nation received their official disaster declaration as we are the only tribal nation that has ever served as a recipient for FEMA, which gives us the same powers that when the state does a declaration, we have that. We have the JFO is now set up, the Joint Field Office. We have FEMA officials on tribal grounds over at the housing building. They are fully staffed. We met earlier this week with all of the county commissioners throughout the nation that were impacted by the flood to work out the procedures on how we would serve as that recipient and help them to fix the damages throughout the nation in their counties. So it's a very big deal. Next week, I will go to Durant for the National Advisory Council, which is the Secretary of Homeland Security and the administrator for FEMA, and discuss tribal declarations and how to change policy for tribal nations when they declare disasters, as some of the laws, some of the policies don't reflect the laws that are currently in place for the tribal nations. So we are way ahead of everyone else right now, and all the other nations are standing in the sidelines in support, hoping that they can tag along when we get this completed. So we are the first and ever. What else would you like to know?
You mentioned the state. You mentioned the state versus the tribal declaration for the last flood.
Yeah, so the nation's declaration is the only one that we've had in the last 3 disasters. So our roads and the infrastructure within the nation is, for the last 380 days, have had 3 disasters. And the state was unable to get a disaster declaration, but we were able to get one, which is what put us into this category. So we're looking at probably $8 to $18 million worth of funds that will flow through the nation to the counties and to the nation for our damages. So it's pretty cool.
We had a gas leak, and then I guess if
and then we had a gas line that was drilled through the other morning. You all received the messages, so we enacted our normal plan, which has gotten better with each little event we have, as you guys saw those messages and was taken care of here. So all of the AARs that we continue to do that you all are invited to, the nation is just getting better and better at answering events that happen throughout the nation and here on the complex.
Now, I'm sorry to keep asking different questions, but I want to say it was at least a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, in Okfuskee County, the little boy that was missing, and there was quite a bit of communication problems. And you had said that you were working on something to help.
Oh, okay. So when this stems back, and Speaker Lowe and I had this discussion after the white powder incident, that when he came out to the command truck, we had 3 different radios and 3 different cell phones. We had already, my office and Lighthouse had already put in grants for new radios for both departments. They didn't get their grant. I got mine, which you guys will approve that expenditure of funds here shortly. So the conversation came that the nation as a whole would develop a 911 call center. So this was been in the works for about 6 months. Everyone was involved: health, Lighthorse, transit, the executive office, Speaker Lowe. And so we were moving forward with a communications plan for the entire nation. And we have the radios already approved through the grant, at least my portion of them already, which will take care of my office, the executive branch, transit, the investigators for the AG's office, the investigators for the child and welfare, and the dispatchers that are going to be in the 911 call center. Chief Phillips said something about that earlier, that it was an 18-month process. Well, the 18 months was that it would take no longer than 18 months to have it fully up and operational. The system that we selected for the 911 call center, The Harris system is a multi-band 700, 800 megahertz, VHF, UHF, and LTE. I have a meeting on the 8th with PSO, who already has the Harris systems in place in all their towers. So basically, when I turn my radios on and we program them, we don't send them to anybody else to program them. We program them. We control everything with our radios. When we turn them on, we're on. So that stuff has been in the works for, well, 6, 7 months now. So I don't think you guys were getting all the information from everyone. At least I didn't know anything about Motorola radios until Monday. And I'm the guy that was tagged to do the nation's overall plan. Motorola's are good radios. My issue with it is they're going to the Oak Wind system, which they're going to have to get the Oak Wind system updated anyway. It's outdated and everyone is kind of moving away from it. But we don't control Oak Wind. They do. Tulsa, there was a police branch that flipped to their tactical channel, and Oak Wind had turned it off on them.
So the system that you've been working on for the 911 that covers the reservation, you only have that for certain departments, but.
No, it's for the entire nation.
Okay, so how does the Lighthorse Police fit into that, or they don't?
They've been in all the meetings. That's why I said I didn't know anything about Motorola radios until Monday when I heard about it.
Okay, so that's kind of a separate issue.
And they'd been in all the meetings, so that's why I was really confused as to why someone didn't say something. And Speaker Lowe can tell you, I told him that we couldn't do legislation until the grants were done, because then we would have broke federal law. It's called supplanting.
Oh.
If you guys went ahead and bought them, then we would have been in default of a federal grant. And then we could have lost all of our grant dollars. So I have all the numbers for everything to go forward, and then you guys will have that legislation for this upcoming month. But we had to wait until Lighthorse either got their grant or didn't get it. We couldn't submit it any time earlier.
So that's a separate issue then. Okay. But we are better than we were a month and a half ago, obviously.
Well, now that we know, we will be. My radios are already on the way. The thing about the Harris system that we selected is that we control it. And it'll talk from Choctaws all the way to Kansas, or you can take the handhelds and their LTE. You can talk from Florida back to here, which was a big thing for the buses, because right now the buses don't have communications. But
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Golden. Are there any other questions for Mr. Howard? Okay, thank you, Mr. Howard. We appreciate it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is announcements. Do we have any announcements? Hearing none. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. Representative Mark Randolph, if you'll provide that, please.
Lord, we're thankful for this day and for this meeting time that you've given us, Lord. Ask that you just clear our minds, Lord, touch our hearts in goodness, continue to embrace us in your healing ways, Lord. Ask for the blood covering, Lord, and that you would just continue and guide us in all that we do, Lord, and that our thoughts and our actions might honor you, about your will. Say all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Representative Golden made the motion to adjourn. You have the second from Representative Mark Randolph. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 4:34.